Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your boy, Dudleyz Man's top 20 best SummerSlam matches in history. Since its inception in 1988, SummerSlam has taken its place in the annals of wrestling history as the biggest spectacle of the summer. The event earned this name from many classic matches that were delivered by legends like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, Mick Foley, Macho Man Randy Savage, and of course, brother, Hulk Hogan. This series takes a look at those classics and rates them from the best to the least best. Regardless, this video is celebrating the absolute best matches in SummerSlam's history. And of course, who better to do it than your boy himself, Dudleyz Man. Thank you guys for joining us. If you are watching me for the first time, please click that subscribe button. Please like the video. Please click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Also, if you want to be a part of your boy Dudleyz Man's growth and be a part of the brand, you can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter at DudleyzManVX1. All the social media links are down below in the description box, as well as PayPal and Patreon if you want to donate. And of course, a link to your boy Dudleyz Man's official t-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. So today we're going to take a look at the top 20 best SummerSlam matches. If you've been following me so far, watching all the matches as I live react and commentate to them, thank you so much. It was fun and almost rejuvenating. You know, it felt good to go back and watch all the great matches that happened at SummerSlam, even the ones I never watched before. And when you look back on the history of the matches that made WWE what it is today, you can see the blood, sweat, and tears left inside the ring, the stories told, the legends that were made throughout the annals of history. It helps you appreciate the event a lot more. At the same time, it makes you hate what's happened to the company and the business nowadays, but it still gives you that appreciation. And that is what this broadcast is here to do. Help us appreciate the absolute best. Before I even get into the top 20, before I get into my list, understand something. This is strictly my opinion. This is a very subjective list. I am not here to tell you that this is the official list, that this is the greatest of all time, and you can take it or leave it, whether you like it or not. This is what it is. This match is better than this match, or this match is better than this match. No, from my perspective, this is how I'm going to rank the matches. There is one match on here and its placement that I'm pretty sure is going to piss people off, and I'm fine with that. I like controversy. I like getting people to talk. If you feel like a certain match is missing, that's fine too. The thing about making these videos isn't to tell you this is factually how the match should be ranked. No, it should give you an idea or a perspective on how it's seen. Now, if you feel differently, I encourage you all to give me your top 20 matches. And if a match is missing, leave it down in the comments. I don't mind discussing that, but we are here to celebrate the matches that I saw, the matches that I perceive to be the absolute best matches in SummerSlam history. So, with that said, if we're ready, let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. Starting off with match number 20. And number 20 is the rematch from WrestleMania 30. It was ended. The Undertaker wanted his revenge. And he got that revenge. He got a chance to get his revenge at SummerSlam 2015, Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. New York. I'm coming down. I can't think. New York. Sorry about that. New York. And that should tell you what number 20 is. Number 20 of course, is Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. And I gotta say, to me, the only thing that's hurt this match from being an absolute classic, probably at least one of the best matches in SummerSlam history, a lot higher on this list. The match itself was awesome. I don't mind going back and watching it. It is so far, by far, a better match than their WrestleMania 30 match. The only thing that hurt it was the stupid finish. The stupid finish kills this match. And I know a lot of you are telling me, Dudleyz, man, it's not a big deal. Dudleyz, man, who cares about the finish? Dudleyz, man, why would you sit here and let one bad finish, ruin a match? Well, I'm the kind of wrestling fan that believes a finish is paramount. The finish of any match, like the ending of a movie or show, is paramount. If you have an awesome, awesome story to tell, doesn't matter what genre or form you're using to tell that story, if your ending is terrible, it ruins the match. And the ending of this match, when you see Undertaker basically locked in the Kimura lock, and apparently he taps under the leg of Brock Lesnar. The timekeeper rings the bell. Why? Because he felt like it. The referee didn't tell him to ring the bell. And that's how it works. Timekeepers don't go out of their way to ring bells outside the referee's jurisdiction. That never happens. That's never happened before in wrestling. So why they would do that is dumb. There's no logic to that. Yes, they tried to make up for it. Oh, the timekeeper saw Undertaker tapping Lesnar's leg, and so he rung the bell. No. He understands protocol, and the protocol is the referee rings the bell for him. He tells him to ring the bell. So the fact that he rung the bell before referee even had an official call, it was so dumb. It was so intelligently insulting. It was so retarded that it basically killed the quality of the match. So it took a awesome match that was fantastic and lowered it down to what was a B+ to me. Definitely one of SummerSlam's best matches, without question. But to me, it killed what should have been one of SummerSlam's greatest matches in history. Now, it ended up being top 20, so I guess it didn't hurt it that much. Still, it killed the match for me. For this guy. So there you go. Number 20. We go from number 20 to, I'll be real with you. If you were to ask me to describe this match, I would call it a comedy classic. Now, is it a classic? Not necessarily. But this match, and I would be crazy not to include it on my top 20 greatest SummerSlam matches of all time. And whether you like the build, whether you like the selling, or any aspect of the feud or the match itself, you gotta give credit where credit is due. These two are icons of the wrestling business. And the match they had, while comical, was still great. Number 19 is Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels from SummerSlam 2005. Brother. Let me tell you something, dude. Your boy Shawn Michaels got that big boot. And when he hit that big boot, he fell up like a cartoon. And he was spinning, brother. Oh, the selling by Shawn Michaels in this match is legendary. It is by far one of the funniest things you will see on a wrestling show. And I love talking about it. I adore Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan from not WrestleMania. That didn't happen. From SummerSlam 2005. Although Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan in WrestleMania back in the day, you never know. But we're talking about SummerSlam, brother. This match was great. You can say what you want about the selling. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yes, it was overdoing it. But Hogan worked very well with Shawn. Shawn was a great heel. Great heel in this match. Did a great job of making Hogan look good. We got some blood. Hogan came out with his whole, hulking up, brother. You, brother. And in the end, was great. And all in the end led to a very entertaining match. Yes, you can complain about it not being as good as it should have been, which, true, that's a legit argument. But it was still a great match. So I'm happy to give it number 19 on my top 20 list of all time. We go from number 19 to, let me just say this about number 18. It's one of those matches you look back on, you appreciate it as time goes by for what it did for a particular guy. And it makes you love the man who did the job even more. I'm talking about the main event of SummerSlam 2002. In my opinion, the best SummerSlam in history. I proudly give number 18 to Lesnar versus your People's Champion, The Rock. Rock and Brock had a really good match at SummerSlam 2002. I basically gave it an A on my list. The thing is, when it comes to this match, what makes it special is how Rock did an excellent job gradually turning from being the babyface of the match into the heel, and Brock Lesnar turning from being the heel of the match into the babyface. And them switching roles just makes that match even more awesome. The crowd was sick of The Rock at this point. He was going into Hollywood. They didn't like the idea of a mainstay in wrestling leaving them and going other places, which would lead to him returning as Hollywood Rock in 2003, one of the best times, one of the best gimmicks he's ever done. Regardless, it was really cool of The Rock to show how selfless he was. He found the audience. They were booing him. And so he said, you know what? You want to boo me? Fine. I'll play the heel of the match and Lesnar will be the babyface. And I felt like it made the match even more awesome. I felt like that dynamic, that switch in the alignments is what makes this match stick out among the rest of the matches in SummerSlam history. Because you don't see that a lot. You don't see that a lot, especially nowadays. When wrestlers have their roles, they stick to them. I'm going to be the babyface whether you like me or not. No, Rock didn't do that. Rock said, you know what? I'm going to make this guy look good. I came here to make Brock Lesnar look like $1 million, and I'm going to do it as a heel or a babyface. So if you want to boo me. Let's go. And that is how you do it. That is what's good for business. Brock was leaving. What does he have to lose? He did the job well, put Brock over. Brock became the youngest WWE champion in history when he won the belt in 2002. The fastest rise out of any wrestler in that company. He just got there a couple of months before. So it was a great main event. Loved going back and watching this match. So happy to see The Rock do the job for Brock Lesnar. We go from number 18 to number 17. This is another main event. It's interesting when you look at this main event, because this is during the time when Stone Cold Steve Austin was at his hottest in WWF. The year is 1998. SummerSlam 1998. We talk about the main event. And that main event was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker. As you guys know, this was my second time, I think, because I've seen the match before. I don't remember how many times I've seen it, but it's been very little. And going back and watching it, again, it's one of those matches that you just don't forget. It's two of the biggest legends in wrestling history. Top 5, if not top 3. Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker. Everybody knows these guys. Everybody knows who Austin and Taker is. And these two went in there and had a fantastic match. And it was cool seeing Undertaker hold back his brother Kane and basically have a straight up clean one-on-one match, which honestly wasn't really clean. Stone Cold Steve Austin had to use a low blow to beat The Undertaker, And some people might look at that and go, why would a babyface use a low blow to beat The Undertaker? And you can argue that, but what made Austin special was that he never played himself up to be a babyface. He acknowledged that he would once in a while bend the rules or break the rules to stay on top because he loves that championship that much. And his character overall basically overrided the fact that he cheated. And I do love that after the match, after they had a grueling, long main event match that basically didn't die out at all. It was fantastic. We see Undertaker show respect to Stone Cold Steve Austin and hand him the belt. He didn't have to. Think about this. Austin cheated. He low-blowed the Undertaker during the match. Taker had every single right to go off on Austin and beat him up. He didn't do that. Instead, he showed him respect. He showed Austin respect and gave him the belt. Austin was the man. Austin was the guy to watch in 1998 or wrestling period during that time. And I thought that was definitely an awesome main event. Up to that point, without question, this was the best main event match in SummerSlam history. Up to that point. Because every other amazing match in SummerSlam didn't main event. Now, knowing that, actually, no, I take that back. This was the second best match. I just thought about a match that topped it. This is the best world championship match. Let me say that. Let me backtrack. This is the best world heavyweight championship match in SummerSlam history. There you go, up to that point. Now, will we have better ones? You got it, damn right we do. But damn, it was good seeing these two go out there and have an awesome match. But that is number 17. We go on from number 17 to number 16, which includes another Rock match, another match involving Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And this, to me, was during the time when The Rock wasn't really The Rock. He was growing into himself. He just turned heel. He was Rocky Maivia, that white bread baby face that everybody hated. But then he joined the Nation of Domination. The Rock won the IC championship and went head-to-head with DX leader Triple H. And they had a spectacular ladder match at SummerSlam 1998. In my opinion, it was better than the main event. But yes, the 16th match on our list is The Rock versus Triple H from SummerSlam 1998. And I have no issues with this match whatsoever. These two went out there, tore it up, and when you see young Triple H and young Rock, where they started from before they became the People's Champion, before they became the Game, and basically before they became the greatest of all time, it's interesting. It's pretty cool seeing what they started from, where they came from, and seeing when they ended up, how they grew, how they matured into the legends, the main event players that they will eventually become. And great ladder match. Really established the IC championship. It just makes me miss the days when the secondary championships meant just as much as the world championship. We don't see that a lot. And I personally think that's discouraging, but it's good. It's still good to remember when championships mattered, because all championships matter. They should matter. Hashtag championships matter. But yeah, that is number 16 on my list. Number 15, I believe is, it's another ladder match. Another ladder match. And a lot of people don't like this match because of the storyline. They don't appreciate the match quality because of the dressing of the match. The story of using someone's son to get back at another man personally, trying to take custody of someone else's son. With that said, I will always love the feud between Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio from 2005. And this match is another notch on their belt. I'm talking about SummerSlam 2005. Custody of Dominic, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Jr. Mysterio Jr. and Eddie Guerrero, to me, without question, had one of the best feuds ever. Ever. Ask me right now, Dudleyz, man, when is your top 10 best feuds of all time? I'll put Eddie and Rey in there. I love the fact that this feud started from one thing. One little thing that spawned out of control. It spiraled out of control, and then next thing you know, we're fighting over Rey Mysterio's son. And I love when stories get wacky and crazy like that. And that one little thing was that Eddie Guerrero never beat Rey Mysterio. Well, he beat him in WCW, but in terms of WWE, Eddie Guerrero couldn't beat him. And we're talking about a man that overcame drug addiction, that overcame heart problems, that overcame health problems, that overcame, well, I shouldn't say heart problems. Sorry about that. It overcame health problems. It overcame so many things. He overcame basically anything humanly possible, becoming WWE champion in a company that honors the Giants. But the one thing he couldn't do, the one little thing he couldn't do, Rey Mysterio. And it became an obsession. It became something that was absolutely traumatizing to him. It broke him as a man. It changed him for who he was. All he could think about was beating Rey Mysterio. And it got so personal that he threatened to take Rey Mysterio's son just to give him a psychological advantage over Rey Mysterio so he could beat him. And for that reason alone, I cannot say that this isn't a classic. One of the best SummerSlam matches in history. Now, the match quality is fantastic. I won't give it A+, because there were a couple of botches in there, including a very messed up sunset flip powerbomb that, oh, man. You can just tell after Eddie Guerrero messed up the sunset flip powerbomb up the ladder, it hurt him. Eddie Guerrero is a perfectionist, and someone like that messing up, it's kind of hard to imagine. But regardless of the botch, regardless of what happened in the match, it's hard to not appreciate what these two have done. So, without question, ladies and gentlemen, number 15 is so deserving of this spot, Eddie Guerrero. We go on to number 14. This is another match that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about, and they should. It's one of those matches that get overlooked and underrated because, you know, it happened during a time when people don't really recall a lot of legendary matches happening. Although it's the same year of WrestleMania 17, so don't really get that logic at all. In my opinion, this is perhaps one of the most underrated matches in SummerSlam history, and it's definitely one of their best. And I'm talking about that Texas Rattlesnake taking on the Milkman versus Milk, SummerSlam 2011, Kurt Angle versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this was the year Kurt Angle finally proved to the world that he can hang with the big boys. This was the year that Kurt Angle was able to show everybody, young and old, that he is here to stay, that he is here to run the business. And it's his feud with Austin is easily the launch of Kurt Angle from being that mid-card entertaining heel, you know, that little annoying smart mouth, spoiled rotten, I'm gonna drink a glass of milk heel, into being a legit wrestling machine. And I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool going back and watching this match and seeing that transformation, seeing Angle become what he is, what he would eventually become, which is one of the best wrestlers of all time. The wrestling machine himself, Kurt Angle. It sucks to me that WWE didn't give him the belt here. But I will say this. In terms of Austin as a heel, you can argue that he never should have turned heel, sure. But he did excellent work as a heel, and he did a great job putting over Kurt Angle and whoever he worked with. He made that championship feel special. He made that championship mean something. And the people who beat him felt like they deserved it because they beat a Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Austin threw out every trick in the book to beat Kurt Angle, and Angle just kept kicking out and kicking out and kicking out and kicking out and kicking out until Austin had to cheat. He had to cheat. He knocked out the referee and brought in another referee, Nick Patrick, and Nick Patrick called for the bell. He won by he won his war per se by keeping the belt. Lost the match, but won the war. But to me, this match was still easily one of the best matches in SummerSlam history. Only topped by their rematch at Unforgiven. Oh, what an amazing match. But yeah, I believe this is 14, I think. I want to keep track of my numbers. Number 14 was Austin versus Kurt Angle. Now, 13 is another underrated match. And if you ask me which one of these matches is the most underrated, I would easily tell you it's this one. CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy from 2009. One of, and I'm clapping my hands, but one of the most underrated feuds in WWE. I swear to God, not enough people talk about the awesome chemistry these two have. And I love this match. I loved CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, TLC SummerSlam 2009 for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This was the coming out party for CM Punk. I felt like up to 2009, CM Punk was cool. He was popular. The fans liked him. He was a cool guy. He won a championship here and there, yeah. But I never really felt like he was able to explore that main event round. He was never able to really hit his stride because, well, he was a babyface. When they turned him heel, it was over. He took off. He took off. He brought in this amazing I'm better than you gimmick, classic straight edge society. I'm straight edge. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm better than you. And it clashed so well with the struggling addictions of Jeff Hardy. You know, that guy that just had a rough life with drugs and everything. To see him struggle to overcome his addictions and become a world champion is so encouraging. It's so, it's great. You know, it's inspiring. And these two are just made for each other. Great polar opposites. And as a result of their polar opposites, it just created an awesome feud. And they had an awesome match. You had everything in this match. Awesome, crazy spots, suplexes on ladders, swanton bombs off ladders through tables. And it came down to the end where you see Jeff Hardy on the stretcher. He's being carried out. CM Punk manages to climb inside the ring. And while Jeff Hardy is being stretchered off, Punk is trying to climb the ladder. And I love the expression of CM Punk when he sees Jeff Hardy climb off the stretcher, risking his life and limb just to get that belt. And Punk's like, oh my God, why won't you die? Why won't you die? Punk climbs up the ladder, gets the belt, becomes your new World Heavyweight Champion, only to be met by The Undertaker. So everything about this match, fantastic. What it led to, not so fantastic. It was dumb to end this reign, this awesome reign by CM Punk to The Undertaker. It was. With that said, it didn't kill this classic. One of SummerSlam's best matches. I am so happy to have it on my list. Next up is a match I didn't talk about. So I have a confession to make. And I'll take the blame for this. You can hate me for it all you want. You've noticed that one of my matches on the list down below in the description box wasn't here before. You know, a match that should have been on the list, but because I let my personal preferences get the best of me, I didn't put it on the list. After watching Elimination Chamber 2003, thinking it was a lot better than it really was, and going back and watching Goldberg dominate the cell, having an awesome freaking match with the guys, but seeing that horrible finish, a horrible finish by all means. Goldberg basically was a monster, and it took one sledgehammer shot to beat him. I really can't say that's a top 20 match. So I'm pulling an audible. I'm calling an audible here. And I'm going to replace Elimination Chamber match with a different match altogether. Now, I'm going to let you guess What match is it? What match in SummerSlam history could replace the Elimination Chamber and be this high on the list? What match did your boy Dudleyz man screw up not talking about, not doing a live broadcast on? What match do you think it was? What match do you think it was? Could it be Cena versus Lesnar from 2014? Could it be the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks? The first main event? Could it be Shane McMahon versus Steve Blackman? What could it be? What could it be? I mean, come on. It has to be some kind of match. I mean, what better way? What match? What match could possibly top any of these matches? I mean, it's not like it's a WrestleMania main event. Ladies and gentlemen, the match that I'm talking about happened on the very same show. I just chose the wrong damn match. 2003 did, in fact, have one of the best matches in SummerSlam history. It just wasn't the Elimination Chamber. It was Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar, the rematch from WrestleMania 19. What an idiot I was. What was wrong with me? It was right there staring me in the face. How in God's name could I completely skip over Angle versus Lesnar, which was the main event of WrestleMania, thinking that Chamber would top it? I mean, it could have topped it if they didn't screw up the booking. But these two had an amazing match. They had an amazing match at WrestleMania. They had an amazing match here. We have two amateur wrestlers who love to shoot at each other, which is what we got. Collegiate amateur wrestlers. And these two went in there and tore it up. And this is one of the rare times when Brock Lesnar tapped out. I've only seen Lesnar tap out twice. He probably tapped out more than that. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. But I think the only two times he tapped out was Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. You guys can let me know down below. But yeah, I'm very certain that it was a mistake not to talk about this match. And I think a lot of people can agree with me on that. I think Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle is definitely, in my personal opinion, one of the best matches of all time. If you don't believe me, go back and watch it. Go out of your way to watch it. I think it's definitely one of those best matches. So with that said, let's go on to number 12. I believe I'm at number 12 here. Now that was number 12. Number 12 was Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. So let's go on to number 11. Now this is when it starts getting controversial, because this is the top 10. Well, it's number 11, but basically following this is going to become the top 10. And when we get to the top 10, we're going to have people disagreeing on where these matches should rank. It really doesn't matter. It's the top freaking 10. You can switch these around for all I care. But this was, in my opinion, the very first classic, the very first amazing match in SummerSlam history. That, my friends, was Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect from SummerSlam 1991. Again, the placement of this match is pretty low for some people. Like, why would you put this match this low? It's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Bret Hart, taking on one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Mr. Perfect. And I was told by We Are Pro Wrestling that Mr. Perfect wrestled this match with an injury. He wrestled this match with an injury, and I had no idea. Just goes to show you what kind of a performer Curt Hennig was. Curt Hennig was able to bring out the best in most of his opponents. He's able to bring out the best in basically anybody that he took on. And I believe that, I believe, in my opinion, you can't pick a better IC champion than Mr. Perfect. If I was to name the absolute best IC champion in the annals of history, I would give it to Mr. Perfect. He's my favorite, at least. Now, if you want to go by statistics, I guess it would be Chris Jericho. If you want to go by star power, I guess it would be Ultimate Warrior. I don't know. For me, the best one in history is Mr. Perfect. He was the perfect IC champion. No pun intended. So for him to have this amazing match to an upcoming main event player in Bret Hart, you know, he broke up from the Hart Foundation. He was starting to make a name for himself. This was, in my opinion, the true launch of Bret Hart's career. This is when he started to be seen in that light, the same light as the Pipers and the Hogans and the Warriors and all that. And what a match this was. Yeah, it's interesting going back and watching that match. Still, in my opinion, one of the absolute best IC championship matches in SummerSlam history. Is it the best? No. That match is still to come. But for number 11, absolutely, Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Rest in peace, by the way. Number 10 is another Bret Hart match. You'll see Bret Hart on this list probably, well, he has one more match. So you're going to see him a lot on this list, though, for a good reason. This one, according to Dave Meltzer, is the greatest SummerSlam match in history. This is the controversial one. This is the one that's going to piss people off. This is the one that people are going to look at this list and go, this list sucks. That match is too low. I feel like it doesn't hold up. I don't really think it. When you look at the matches that preceded, it's kind of hard to say it's the greatest match in SummerSlam history. Without question, it's one of the best matches I've seen. Yeah, and if you ask me which one was... If you ask me, during its time, was it one of the best matches of SummerSlam history? Was it the best? 1994? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like, for me, it just didn't hold up. But regardless, number 10 on my list is Bret Hart versus Owen Hart match from 1994. We see the two brothers had this feud going on since WrestleMania 10. And we see Bret Hart, you know, win the championship, and Owen Hart basically feeling jealous, being jealous of his brother's success. And Owen, as you would think, would do anything he can to be seen in the same light as Bret. He beat Bret Hart clean at WrestleMania. So naturally you would think, oh, well, I can beat him in a steel cage match for the championship at SummerSlam, right? You had all the Hart family there. You had Stu Hart. You had the wife of Stu Hart. You had, you know, the students of the dungeon, Davey Boy Smith, other people there watching these two just beat the hell out of each other. You had the wives of Bret and Owen there. It's a family affair. And the family was split. People voted. People were going for Owen. People were going for Bret. Regardless, to me, without question, one of the best SummerSlam matches in history. But to me, over time, I don't quite feel like it holds up to being the absolute best, and that's my opinion. I'm gonna stick to it. Now, I just feel like in terms of the rest of the list, as I said before, you can switch them. You can flip them around. It doesn't really matter where you put these. I just personally put them in order based off of how I felt about them. So you can flip any of these matches around because they're all classics. Let's start with number 9. Number 9 comes from SummerSlam 2008. That involves two men who had a year-long rivalry. A rivalry that started in 2007. Survivor Series 2007. And it's a WrestleMania main event rematch. I'm talking about Edge versus The Undertaker. Hell in a Cell from SummerSlam 2008. The Dead Man took on the Rated R Superstar, and what is said to be a straight up classic. I do not care what anybody says. These two had one hell of a match, one hell of a performance, and they tore it up, man. They had everything. They had chairs, tables, ladders. They went outside the cage, crazy spears by Edge, and it was all inspired by a promo with him and Mick Foley. Love the promo on the cutting edge, where Mick Foley basically said, "You need to find that Edge that made me say you're the greatest wrestler today. The Undertaker will tear you apart. Am I understood?" And then Edge says, "I understand." Kills Mick Foley, puts him out of WWE. And then Edge takes that momentum. He takes what Mick Foley told him, goes into the match a crazed man. And then you see him use that very same line in the match. I understand. I understand. And it's great storytelling. Just an amazing story overall, man. I love what they did with Edge and Undertaker here. Just a classic. And I love at the end how at the end of the match, you see Taker basically giving Edge a taste of his own medicine. He recapped every horrible thing Edge did to him up to that match. He hit him in the face with a camera, Survivor Series 2007, gave him a steel chair, a single concerto, WrestleMania 24, and so many other things. Tombstone, Hell's Gate, and then, of course, when he wins the match, he climbs the ladder, chokeslams him off the ladder through the ring, and then Hellfire and Brimstone shoots up from the ring. Edge has gone straight to hell. Classic match. One of Undertaker's best Hell in a Cell matches against one of the best wrestlers that he's ever had the pleasure of facing. So without question, number 9 on this list is Edge versus The Undertaker. We go from that to number 8. Number 8 on this list, ladies and gentlemen, is another Kurt Angle match. And people are calling it the greatest opening match in WrestleMania history. And you know what? It is a classic among classics. One of the best matches in SummerSlam history. Did I say WrestleMania history? Nah, sorry. Botch. But SummerSlam history, the best opening match in SummerSlam. Coming from SummerSlam 2002, Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio. Oh, these two tore it out. What an amazing match this is. This match never gets old. You have two of the best in-ring performers to do it. You have two men who know each other so well. You have two men who have been around the world. Two men who are the best in their craft. The greatest luchador in wrestling, Rey Mysterio, taking on one of the best technical wrestlers in wrestling, Kurt Angle. An amazing blueprint for how a wrestling match should go. It was fast-paced. You had counter wrestling. You had high-flying. You had grappling. You had all of it. You had all of it. And the only thing that was the detriment to this match was that it was too short. It was too short. These two could have gone for a long time. But the match length didn't hurt it. Still was a classic. Kurt Angle gets a victory over Rey Mysterio. And like I said, what is to be the absolute best opening in SummerSlam history. So we go from that match to number 7. Epitome of a ladder match. This was during a time when ladder matches were rare. When it happened, it was a big freaking deal. And you can call these two the pioneers, if you will, of the ladder match. I'm talking about SummerSlam 1995, Ramon taking on the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And 1995 was not a good year to be a WWF fan. We had a lot of crazy gimmicks, like Bastion Booger. Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. But what wasn't bad was the performance level of these two men. Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, or Scott Hall, being best friends, had, even for this modern age, a high quality, non-stop action, fast-paced, crazy ladder match that was just as good, some might even argue even better ladder match than their classic at WrestleMania 10. And this was, it was a notch in the belt of, yes, Shawn Michaels, who is by far the greatest performer in wrestling, but it was also a notch in the belt for Scott Hall. Don't give credit to Scott Hall in the business. I do think he doesn't get for what he's done. I do think a lot of fans tend to overlook him because of who he's working with, and I do think that's a little unfair. My opinion is definitely worthy to be on anybody's list of best performers. Why would anybody think any differently? He's awesome at what he does, and I just think, in my opinion, it takes two to tangle. Give credit to this amazing match. You still got to give credit to Scott Hall for working with him. That's just my opinion. I give both Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, and Shawn Michaels the benefit for giving me an amazing ladder match at SummerSlam. That was I think that was number 7. We're getting into the top 6 now. Top 6 is a match that we never thought would happen. It was a dream match. It was a match that people have been salivating for over a decade. Over a decade. And to say we would have a classic like this happen in modern day wrestling age just goes to show you the state of wrestling we're in and the possibilities that could happen in the right circumstances. Number 6 on my list comes from SummerSlam 2016. It's the phenomenal one taking on the Doctor of Thugonomics, the leader of the Sin Nation, Mr. You Can't See Me versus Phenomenal himself, AJ Styles versus John Cena. I believe this is the first John Cena classic on my list. And you're going to be shocked at how high I'm ranking John Cena's matches. This might piss people off. This is also another thing that's going to piss people off. And I get that. I understand that people don't want to think that, oh, why would you rank John Cena's matches above Bret Hart and Owens? I'm sorry, but how can you watch AJ Styles versus John Cena and not rank it in a high place on the list? Their match at SummerSlam 2016, to me, easily match of the year. Easily. At least one of the best SummerSlam matches I've ever seen. You cannot tell me that AJ and Cena didn't give you a hell of a show. They went out there and tore it up. And it was hard for anybody else to follow that. I don't think anything else followed this match. It couldn't be followed. How can you top Cena and AJ? How can you? You can't. What an amazing match these two had. One of the best in the business in terms of wrestling, AJ Styles taking on one of the best in the business in terms of the star power, in terms of worldwide reach. Being a worldwide phenomenon, John Cena. You can't have a better match here in 2016. And they tore it up. I do not mind saying that these two deserve their placement on this list. This match was, go ahead and say it, phenomenal. And then we get into the top 5. Top 5 greatest SummerSlam matches in history. I have no qualms with this top 5. I think from this point forward, it's going to be hard, very hard to argue why these matches are not top 5. But number 5 on my list of the Yes Movement was the match that launched a particular GOAT, GOATs, greatest of all time, into the main event scene. And it's one of those matches that I look on fondly as being the epitome of when WWE does something right. When WWE is on, they're on. I'm talking about SummerSlam main event from 2013. Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. These two had a hell of a classic. These two had a great wrestling back and forth. The psychology of the match was on. Everything with Cena and Bryan just clicked, man. They were beating the hell out of each other. Some great wrestling, back and forth counters. You had a slap fest, a Japanese wrestling style slap fest in the middle of the match. That was great. The crowd was not dead. They were alive for this entire match. Now keep this in mind. This was during a time in wrestling, especially in WWE, where crowds are not that excited for the events. They were kind of dead. They weren't dead for this match. They loved this match. I can't sit here and tell you that this is not one of the greatest SummerSlam matches in history. Bryan went out there, had a classic with John Cena, beat him clean. One of the rarest times John Cena lost clean without any BS. Bryan won the championship, had a great celebration, and it all fell from there. Randy Orton comes out with the Money in the Bank, cashes in. Triple H turns on him. Big controversial turn. Randy Orton is your new corporate champion, and is off to the races for WrestleMania 30. Bryan was made into the biggest babyface that company has ever seen. And no matter what they tried to do, they couldn't take it away from him. And I have to say, when I think about SummerSlam main events, this is one of those main events where I just go, hell yeah. That's how you do it. That, my friends, is how you do a main event. So, proudly, my number 5 on this list is Bryan versus Cena. Number 4 also comes, and I have to imagine that this match is by far the best Brock Lesnar match to ever take place at SummerSlam. Perhaps the best Brock Lesnar match that happened since he had his second run. You know what match I'm talking about. Let's look at the Beast versus the Best. Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk. This match was awesome. This match had everything. And when I say everything, I really mean everything you could ask for in any wrestling match. You had the that UFC brute style that Brock Lesnar brought, taking on the Taekwondo, technical wrestling, high flying CM Punk. And the thing that made this match awesome, and this is one of those matches I look back on and use as an example for people who say, you can't have Brock Lesnar fight people smaller than him. It's a mismatch. Really? This is why it's possible. First off, Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar. No Way Out 2004. Freaking awesome match. That's one example. But if I'm going to use a modern day example, here you go. CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar had one of the most brutal, no holds barred, no disqualification matches that WWE has seen in its modern era. And looking back and watching this match, it makes me first off miss CM Punk. CM Punk leaving the WWE, leaving the wrestling business period, was a huge loss. You don't get matches like this anymore. You don't get matches like this from people in wrestling because it's hard to do this. It's hard to do wrestling on this level. Make it believable. Make it a fight. And Punk and Lesnar had a believable fight. What an amazing match this was. The element of Paul Heyman made it even more special because CM Punk became the longest reigning WWE champion because of Paul Heyman. 434 days as champion. And their relationship was strong because of it. Punk idolized Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman stopped CM Punk from being fired. And for Paul Heyman to turn on him, it was believably heart-wrenching. You felt for CM Punk. At the same time, you wanted to see him get his hands on him. So to see CM Punk be blinded by his hatred against Heyman in this match and basically lead to his downfall against the Beast. Because if he wasn't blinded by Paul Heyman, if the Parliament factor wasn't there, Punk could have beaten Brock Lesnar. That was an amazing story to tell. Even in defeat, Punk looked awesome. Brock Lesnar, too, looked amazing. This was pre-Suplex City Brock Lesnar. And he went in there and had an amazing match with CM Punk. Classic. By far, one of the best matches I've seen. And without question, Brock Lesnar's best match since he came back for his second run. I miss CM Punk. And matches like this should tell you why. Top three. Top three should be easy to tell. I think most of you can guess what the top three is. It just depends on how it's ranked. This next one should come as no shock. You can't have a top 20, top 10 SummerSlam list without this match, because this is the tag match that set the bar too high for tag team wrestling. It's a bar that will never be surpassed. I'm talking about tables, ladders, and chairs from SummerSlam 2000, the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian. Classic. Classic. I am shocked that all 6 of these men even walked out of that match. You got people falling down from the championship titles, going through tables, going off ladders, jumping through ladders, jumping over ladders, jumping on ladders. Chair shots left and right, fast-paced from beginning to end. There wasn't a single boring moment in this match. This was during the golden age of WWF. This was during a time where you just couldn't miss a single freaking show, and matches like this is why. This TLC kicked off a series of matches that would set the bar for tag team wrestling higher than it's ever been before. And we have Bubba Ray Dudley, Devon, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Edge and Christian, to thank for that. It was hard to not see these guys anywhere else following this match. This match made their careers. This match is what set the stage for Edge to become a main event player, for Jeff Hardy to become a main event player, for Matt Hardy and Bubba Ray and Devon to go off and do their own things. These guys, I dare say, let's just look at the statistics here. Let's name all the world champions in this match. Not just from WWE, but TNA and other places. Edge is a multiple-time world champion. Jeff Hardy is a multiple-time world champion. Christian is a multiple-time world champion. Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, is a world champion. Devon is not a world champion, but he's a multiple-time champion. Matt Hardy, multiple-time IC, multiple-time Cruiserweight tag team. He's won U.S., excuse me. I don't think he won the IC championship. Wait, checking. Someone check for me. I don't think he ever won the IC championship. I'm thinking U.S. championship. Regardless, these guys' careers were made because of this match. The bones they broke, the blood they sweat, the sweat, everything about it. This match, ladies and gentlemen, launched so many careers for not just these 6, but tag team wrestling. And I think it's cool going back and watching it and appreciating what these guys have done. If this match is not on your list, I can't take your match list seriously. I'm sorry. If any SummerSlam match, SummerSlam best list, whatever. If this match is not on there, what are we doing? What are we doing? Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me for this, by the way. We're almost done. We got 2 more. This one was hard. I had a hard time deciding which one of these matches was going to be number 1. I went back and forth. I was debating with myself on whether to have an IC championship match or a street fight be the number 1 match in SummerSlam history. I was really close to giving it to the IC championship match. But unfortunately, it didn't make it. Coming in number 2 is the greatest Intercontinental Championship match in WWE history. One of the best main events in SummerSlam history. I'm talking about Bret Hart versus British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, SummerSlam 1992. these two had, in my opinion, the single best IC championship match in existence. And it really, in my opinion, put the IC championship on the same level as the world championship. It's unfortunate seeing how badly the belt was treated at the time as years go by. To look back on this and see how much it was respected, how much it was loved, how, again, let's talk about SummerSlam 1992. It was in London, England. Wembley Stadium. They sold out Wembley Stadium in 1992 with the IC Championship in the main event. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Hulk Hogan? Was he there? I don't think he was there. Warrior and Savage was there, but they didn't close the show. Hart and Davey Boy Smith did. And that crowd loved him for it. What an awesome match this was. What an awesome match to see Davey Boy Smith win a huge victory over Bret Hart to win that IC championship. I cannot imagine how anybody cannot appreciate what this match did. It just goes to show you that sometimes not every important match has to be for the world championship. I feel like if you have two competitors, two who are the best at what they do, who cares, right? Bret Hart's crowning achievement would come later on, but to me, this is by far Bret Hart's best match in SummerSlam history, by far. And then we get to number one. We talked about steel cage matches. We talked about TLC matches. We talked about IC championship matches. We talked about ladder matches. But how match that's unsanctioned? One of the best feuds in wrestling history, definitely top 5. Two best friends who, in 2002, went to war with each other. And that should have retired. That should have been done with wrestling after a back injury that should have been career-ending. Came back 4 years later. Didn't miss a beat. Had, in my opinion, the absolute best SummerSlam match in history. Ladies and gentlemen, your number one match, the number one single best match in SummerSlam history comes from SummerSlam 2002. That is Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, the unsanctioned street fight. Everything you can ask for in a wrestling match, this match has it. This classic has it. And it was a pleasure for me to be alive to witness it. I came into wrestling 1998. Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. WrestleMania 14. It's really, really cool seeing Shawn Michaels return after basically my first match, what was in a lot of people's minds his last. WrestleMania 14, by all means, should have been Shawn Michaels' last match. So much pain he was in to finish his work with Austin. You know, you brought in Mike Tyson and all that, but he worked through his back pain. He worked through his back injury to put over Stone Cold, and we didn't see him wrestle for 4 years. And you would think after being gone for 4 years, there's so many things that can happen. So many things that can happen to you. Ring rust, the back injury, so many things come into play when you leave your craft for 4 years. Can you still do it? Do you still got it? Hell yeah, he still got it. Shawn Michaels went in there and almost made you feel like he never left. And what better way to bring him back than interfere with Triple H? These two, building into this match, were best buddies. They were best friends. They were on Raw during their brand split. Triple H brought up the idea to reform DX. During the DX reunion, he pedigrees Shawn Michaels because he wants Shawn Michaels to realize one thing. that he is helpless, that he can't do it anymore, that he is nothing. And the only way he can stay relevant is to be his manager. Because Triple H only cares about one person and one person only, and that is himself. That is him. All he cares about is what you can do for him. The ego of Triple H was massive. And Triple H basically told Shawn Michaels that it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you feel about yourself. Let go of your pride. Be my manager. Because that is what you're meant to be. Even playing up the rules. Played up the rules of who attacked Shawn Michaels? Who attacked HBK? Shawn Michaels gets beaten backstage. We do the whole, who attacked Shawn? Triple H is interrogating everybody. And then it's revealed that it was Hunter the entire time. To make a point that he is helpless. That he can't do it anymore. And that was the awakening. That was when Shawn Michaels realized, I have to fight again. And what makes this match even special, besides all the crazy bumps, besides the splashes to the table, besides dives off the ladder, besides the great chemistry between the two men, besides the bad blood, when it came down to the end, Shawn Michaels hits a roll-up on Triple H and beats him. 1, 2, 3. He wins the match. He wins the match. But afterwards, Triple H grabs a sledgehammer and hits Shawn Michaels in his lower back. And when Shawn Michaels is, in agony and pain on his knees, Triple H looks him in his face and he tells him, I need you to look me in my eye so you know that it was me who did this to you. Raises the sledgehammer, delivers the final strike. Shawn Michaels is down. Triple H walks out on his own 2 feet. Shawn Michaels is stretchered out. So Shawn Michaels won the match, but Triple H won the war. Classic villain. Classic villain. And of course, what would happen? Triple H forms Evolution. He finds Ric Flair. He finds Randy Orton. Would later find Batista. And those 4 men, create one of the greatest stables in WWE history. What an amazing story. It's stories like this that make me proud to be a wrestling fan. It's stories, it's feuds, it's matches like this that if I was to introduce anybody to wrestling, I would show them this match. It touches your heart. It makes you smile. It makes you feel good about yourselves. It makes you inspired to do other things. I am happy to have Shawn Michaels and Triple H as #1 on my list. And if you disagree with me, if you feel differently, I encourage you all to give me your thoughts about this list down below in the comments. How do you feel about my list, my top 20? Do you feel like some matches should be moved around? Do you feel like we should have added a few more matches? You should replace other matches? Let me know. But thank you for watching. There you go. The big series is done. Top 20 best SummerSlam matches in history is in the books. I want to thank you all for joining me for one of my best videos I've done. I love this series and I love this video. You guys are awesome. I love you. I'll catch you guys in my next video right here in Dudleyz Man's World. But I'm out of here. You guys have a good night. Your boy, Dudleyz Man signing off. Peace.